Welcome to Astoria, a neighborhood in New York's most diverse borough, Queens, which has at least 360 languages spoken and culture to go with it. But not only is Astoria diverse in its ethnic makeup like the rest of Queens, Astoria also has diverse types of housing. Some might say that Astoria is an example of neighborhoods that are considered the missing middle. Say what? There's this observation that choices for homes in the United States are either a box, in a tall box, next to other tall boxes in a large city, or a freestanding solo box next to other freestanding solo boxes in box pieces of land called a suburb. But not many options for something in the middle. That's why it's called missing. So what does a missing middle neighborhood look like? Let's compare the three. Cities are highly dense with people. Manhattan, for example, has over 70,000 people per square mile. Because of this density, large cities tend to be walkable, meaning that a person can walk a few minutes to meet their basic needs like grocery shopping, going to the gym, or finding entertainment. Cities also tend to have public transit systems to alleviate the need for cars to reduce congestion. And because of this, people cautiously do not own cars. They either walk, bike, or ride public transit. Suburbs, on the other hand, are not dense since people do not live in stacked dwellings like a large city. Instead, they live in solo boxes, so therefore they take up more space. Suburbs are not walkable because everything is zoned, meaning areas are either strictly residential or strictly commercial. Add this to the fact that reliable public transit is non-existent, someone living here would need a car to get around. And that leads us to somewhere in the middle. So what does a missing middle neighborhood look like? Well, for starters, the density or population is going to be less dense than a large city, but definitely denser than your typical suburb. It's going to be walkable with public transit in place, so people don't really need to own cars. But at the same time, for those who really need a car, this neighborhood provides the option to own and store one. But note that this type of neighborhood makes it impossible for everyone to own a car. Ideally, cars are only for those who really need it. So does such a place exist? Though they are rare in the United States, they do exist. And today, we are going to visit one. Astoria is in the western portion of Queens. It sits right across the East River from Manhattan. But it's nothing like this. Let's start with density. As you can see from comparing city and suburb, types of dwelling affect density. Compared to Manhattan, you'll notice right away that buildings in Astoria are not as high. Sure, you'll find condos in Astoria, but they won't be 10 or more stories high. They're more like 3 or 4 stories high. A lot of homes in Astoria are multi-family homes, where more than one family live in a single building. At the same time, you will see single-family homes, but they won't have large garages and setbacks taking up a large footprint compared to the typical suburban home. Because buildings are not as tall as the ones you see in Manhattan, the neighborhood is not overly burdened with an exceedingly dense population that an extremely large city would have. And because of the diversity of homes in Astoria, more people can take up a smaller amount of space compared to the suburbs. It's somewhere in the middle. Now that we have a shared understanding of density, what about walkability? Taking a closer look at Astoria, looking at this map, you'll notice what looks like some commercially dense areas and residentially dense ones as well. You might be thinking, zoning, dun dun dun! Well, if you zoom into a residential section, the area actually still has mixed-use buildings with splatters of businesses here and there, usually something essential to the neighborhood, like a pharmacy or a laundromat. At the same time, in the commercial strips, residential space is mixed in with people living above businesses. With this mix of commercial and residential, regular needs like groceries, salons, and restaurants are easily accessible within a short walk. Here you can see how much range you get by walking 10 minutes. Learn more about walkable communities in this video, link is in the description. Not only does Astoria make use of mixing residential with commercial, it also participates in New York's Open Streets program. On the weekends from April to October, a couple blocks of streets are closed off to cars, creating a space for the community to gather, support local businesses and organizations. Notable about Astoria is that it's bounded by the East River and has access to the NYC ferry that transports people along the river for a quick and not to mention chill ride to Manhattan and Brooklyn. When it comes to the subway, the last 5 stations of the N&W subway trains are in Astoria. While you don't have many options for subway lines in Astoria itself, the N&W trains easily connect to other stations. As a cherry on top, Astoria is next to LaGuardia Airport, which you can easily get to via public transit. Just watch this video. When it comes to biking in the neighborhood, Astoria has a decent amount of city bikes, plus a number of bus routes. Because of the robust transit options that Astoria has, people cautiously do not own a car. However, if someone really needed a car, it's possible in Astoria. Some homes do have driveways and means for car parking, but they are not gigantic like the ones in the suburbs. And some row homes are designed not to have large driveways and garages in the front of the home. This makes them closer to the sidewalk and more connected to the community around them. Instead of a driveway at the front of the home, parking is tucked away in an alley behind the home. But because not all homes in Astoria have parking provisions, and there's already adequate public transit, this neighborhood discourages everyone from owning a car. Ideally, only those that really need a car should have one. So what if the missing middle wasn't so missing? The appeal of Astoria is that people living here have walkable access to everything they need. Residents are discouraged to own cars, but they can own one if they really need to. Without a car, people can easily access Manhattan for work or maybe just a change of scenery. Astoria's big city is Manhattan. But what if you change Manhattan to downtown Cincinnati, or downtown Austin, or downtown San Jose, or maybe the Las Vegas Strip? What if your Astoria has everything you need within a 10-minute walk, and it has fast and easy public transportation to your big city? And what if you duplicate your Astoria? And not only do your Astoria and other Astorias have access to your big city, but you can take fast and easy public transit to the neighboring Astorias. And if your Astoria is far away, maybe there's a bullet train that reduces a 3-hour drive into a 1-hour train ride. Imagine what life could be like if the middle weren't missing. Maybe we wouldn't have to deal with this so much. Do you know of a missing middle neighborhood in the United States outside of New York City? Comment below. I think that would be interesting to know about. Also, have you ever wondered what I do behind the scenes? What my creative process is like? Or my favorite coffee shop in New York City? These are things I share within my Patreon community. Not only do I write blog posts, but also give away free wallpapers with every new video published. If you would like to join this exclusive community, while supporting the existence of this channel, check out patreon.com/urbancaffeine. Until next time, thank you so much for watching and happy New Yorking!